Good evening to you, RPG Limit Break. Thank you so much for joining us on this Thursday evening. Hope everybody is having a wonderful one. We have experienced some tech issues that set us back a little bit, but now we're excited to get going. This is the final matchup of the round of 32. So much is at stake. We're going to talk a little bit about that. How you doing tonight in Invenerable?
I'm doing great. Very excited for this race. Very excited to see how all the chips fall at the end of it and to see what place everyone's going to have going into these play-in matches.
All right, so the first thing that's at stake tonight is the top four. They will have a say in their destiny later in the playoffs. Who's in the running for those spots?
Absolutely. All right. Well, Kobahi has locked in a spot in the top four. Perfect 16 for 16. Guaranteed to be there. Dipwood's there as well. Nirm is also guaranteed. The other three people who could possibly have one of those spots are rmccown, racing tonight with a first or second place finish, gets there. Fred Coughlin takes a spot if he gets first place and Rivers takes third place or lower. And then if neither of those happen, the Fizz maintains his spot in the top four. And again, just a brief summary of what top four get to do. You draft your little group for the playoffs, and if you're in the top four, you get to pick your opponents. And hopefully, you'll either make an exciting group of death or manage to skate on in pretty easily.
The next thing at stake is a top 12 finish. This group is automatically into the Sweet 16. Who's in the running?
Pretty much anyone who already has 12 points or who comes out of the race tonight with a total of 12. A lot of names to list there, but that's what we're looking for. If you get 12 points, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in there. There's some racers with 11 who are still pretty likely to be in there depending on how things pan out.
All right, then, if you don't make the top 12, you still have two possible scenarios for getting in. There's a play-in Group 1 and a play-in Group 2. The first group will include those runners who are 13th through 16th in points. The player who finishes last in that group will be eliminated. What are we looking at there?
Well, Big Dunka and Night Dew are both guaranteed to be in that play-in. Izutayama may get bumped from top 12 down there if Xyrak takes first or if Fred takes first or second. And then finally, there's very specific situations which would put either El Magus in that play-in or rmccown in that play-in. And that's if we have a Xyrak, then a Fred finish, then Rivers followed by GreatWightHope puts El Magus in it, GreatWightHope followed by Rivers puts Rivers in it. So we're still unclear on who's going to end up in that 13 through 16 group.
And then finally, the last runners in will be spots 17th through 20th. Only one player from this group will advance, so you get one last chance to win your way into the 16.
Absolutely, and we already know three of the racers who are going to be in this play-in. Dragon Dark, Dusty Griff, and Chokosura are all guaranteed spots in this play-in. The question is, who else ends up there? Couch 23 can end up there. He'll get knocked into... He's currently in the 13 through 16 play-in. He gets knocked into the 17 through 20 if Fred gets third or better and Xyrak gets second or better. There are other things also that'll put Fred in that 17 to 20 play-in or Xyrak in that 17 to 20 play-in, just depending on how they finish this race tonight.
All right, so very shortly we'll see the runners get underway. And then who knows, it could be an hour, it could be 2.5 hours, depending on how crazy this seed gets before we find out who the final 20 will be. We'll have a summary, an unofficial recap of where things land once we see the race finish. But very unofficial. Stay tuned to the Discord for the actual announcement of who finishes where.
Absolutely. It looks like we are going to have a Dark Knight Cecil start. Of course, our restreamer tonight, Scala Kitty, generated this seed, so we're going to see if it's yet another Scala Kitty classic. Let's see if their partner makes this a rough start or if they get to scoot by the early game relatively unscathed.
Chat, I don't think we have nearly enough hype. Let's get some going in here. This last match in the round of 32, inaugural league for Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. Show us you're excited. We're looking a little bit better. Okay, on the spot, where do you think the crystal is tonight?
Ah, there we go. Okay, I saw the timer start, but not the actual Selecting a new game. Here we go. In progress. We have a Sid for our partner. Very great partner to see here with kind of the wimpy Dark Knight Cecil. Comes at a relatively high level. Great HP. Great attack power for the early game. Should let our racers run roughshod over the opposition for a little bit here at the start.
We start off with the tower key as the starting item. That's interesting to get early because it's one of those items that can really affect your routing.
Absolutely. It's always a tricky decision if you don't have that key. Are you going to go ahead and do a double dip of Lower Babel? Or are you going to go check the Dr. Luque spot and then just come back later once you have the tower key? Having it at the start of the game means that that's not going to be a hard decision. You're going to have two potential key item spots there, and you don't have to worry about, do I really want to take this gamble? It removes a little bit of the difficult decision making. There we go.
Looks like Asura's hanging out in the Baron Inn. And we know the dupe, so it might take a while before anybody goes back to that spot. So one of the things that is worthy of mention is for Great White, there's no playoff spot on the line tonight. This is all about pride. This is trying to finish this round of 32, picking up one win.
Absolutely.
And I'm hoping to see some crazy strats trying to do just that.
Yeah, our top 20 are set in stone. GreatWightHope playing for all the pride in the world. More power to him. Hope it works out well tonight. And yeah, everyone else, little more to play for. Hoping for those top 4 slots. Hoping to evade play-ins. But sometimes pride will make you play even better than any of those other more tangible rewards.
Can also cause you to take some gambles, maybe, because you know you have nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
We also picked up a Zeus Gauntlet in Antlion Cave, which is a very great early find.
One of the best pieces of equipment for any melee attacker, giving a whopping +10 to strength and vitality, and also giving a pretty substantial physical defense.
Interesting that they're picking up the airship. I guess this is more about getting the treasure, but come here, you pick up the airship as well.
Fred actually only looted. He didn't bother. He didn't bother unmooring the hovercraft. He just wanted to loot and scoot.
Hey, Fred's going to be the one who gives us our first look at a potential party member. Third potential party member, that is.
Let's see who's waiting for us on Hobbs. Huh. Tella? I don't hate seeing Tella here. We do have Dark Knight Cecil, so we already have a little bit of incentive to go clear Mount Ordeals, and then getting Tella on top of that would make it to where I don't feel bad about the play at all. I get huge gains both to Cecil and to Tella by doing it. It doesn't feel terrible to have to go sit through 3 boss fights plus cutscenes anymore.
Yeah, Mylon Z, not that hard to get out of this spot as well. Tella's also an early source of exit, which is not a bad thing either.
Definitely cuts off some walking time. Rivers, for instance, having Sid knew, I don't need to loot Baron. I can pretty much hightail it straight to Antlion Cave. I'll wreck any boss here. But when Fred goes there, he'll be able to just exit out of the dungeon and save all those steps.
So interesting that 2 of the runners go for the Antlion spot first, 2 of them go for the Mount Hobbs spot first. Which do you normally go with?
I usually like to go Antlion first. Admittedly, Sid makes Hobbs less scary, but there's still a few bosses you can bump into on Hobbs that'll just ruin your day.
We found the spoon at the Antlion. We need Edge to make use of it, but it is a key item, so it works towards the count for experience bonuses. And if you have Edge, it's not quite a free pass on boss fights, but gets you through a lot of them.
Definitely does work. So hopefully we'll run into our ninja at some point on this seed and get to actually chuck that for a good, easy boss kill. But if not, absolutely. Key item, gets you to that 10 count, at which point everyone's experience will be doubled.
It's a C1 on the character shuffle, so he will have to be in one of the harder spots like Moon Access.
Having a little bit of high fives going on here, going left and right between Antlion Cave and over to Hobbs. Pretty much everyone clearing out, something that the rest of the runners have already done. We'll see where people head next. I know that Rivers often will try to put off the bull if possible to avoid triple dipping it. You know, try to narrow it down to where you only have to go there maybe twice, if not once. So we'll see if he makes the play for Ordeals to go ahead and bump his Tella and Cecil up, or if he does go there and just follows kind of the vanilla routing of the game.
We have 3 spots available to us at this time. We have Mount Ordeal, which is a possible location, 3 boss fights to get you there. We have Fabul, only 1 boss fight, pretty quick to get through. And then we have Baron Inn, which could still be pretty challenging for a low-level party.
Yeah, having Sid means that any of our racers will probably be able to get through the Asura spot at the guards pretty handily, but we don't know what lies beyond. There are any number of bosses in that karate spot that, if they use physical attacks, will dunk on your party in a hurry.
The other big consideration is having Tella, and he gets a great big spell list if you complete Mount Ordeal.
Absolutely. The Tella, I think, one of the more underrated characters in the game. This is just me living my Tella life, but just having such variety and utility definitely compensates a little bit for all his other shortcomings.
Well, the shortcomings are basically that he doesn't have Quake. As for white magic, he's solid, and he also has weak, so if you're setting up for an experienced grind fight, Tella will certainly get the job done.
Absolutely. So it appears that Rivers is going to go ahead and make the Fabul play, rearranging his party just a little bit, and going for the monk's home.
There's also a chance to check the equipment shops here, which he may wait till after the fight to do, but could potentially pick up something useful there.
Kind of a little bit of safety, of course. There are still, like, even with this team, you could, run into a Golbez or a Wyvern unprepared and wipe, and then anything you've done at the store, you would have immediately had to redo. So this boss fight, not that kind of issue. Officers and soldiers should go down in fairly short order, but I understand not checking the shops till you're on your way out of town.
Yeah, the Rydia kidnappers, or Kidia nappers, if you will. Fred, meanwhile, is going to check the shops, so we see hourglasses.
An excellent item under these flags. Many bosses, including this officer and soldier fight, are still vulnerable to status elements. If the flag set had No Free Lunch 2 instead of No Free Lunch 1, all of a sudden their utility would be greatly diminished. But with this flag set, you can get a lot of mileage out of those hourglasses. Doesn't hurt to pick up a few of them. Rivers cleaning up that little guard fight very quickly. Let's see what the King of Fabul has for us today.
So far, everybody kind of on a similar path. It's the Adamant. So we're 3 for 3 on key items so far.
And 3 for 3 on ones that do not give us our Underworld access. So looking for something at this point at either Ordeals or Baron Inn, or at least a chain that'll lead us there, or possibly hiding Mist Dragon at the vanilla Mist Dragon or Octomam spots.
Also, it's 50% of the way to an Excalibur, which would be a very good weapon for Cecil. Might be the best one he gets.
That's true. We are playing on T3 and S2, so there's no guarantee necessarily that you'll find a crystal sword. It may be hidden off in one of the extra boss spots or trapped chests, but getting that Excalibur will definitely let Paladin Cecil do work throughout pretty much the entire game. So at this point, you actually don't hate seeing the Legend Sword as a reward.
We know 2 more spots are available that could potentially have our progress. The top of Mount Ordeal and the Baron Inn. Also, somewhere in the world could still be the Mist Dragon.
I really hope that's not the case. I really want us to have at least one seed in this route of 32 where Mist Dragon is hidden away somewhere just ridiculous. And although those two spots are a little annoying, I don't really put them up on the level of ridiculous. Like, give me a Giant of Babil Mist Dragon. Give me a King and Queen Eblin Mist Dragon when you had the Magma Key. Any of those. Just give me that. That's all I want, Scala. It's on you.
I think we have 6 possible spots right now where Mist Dragon could still be. That if it were blocking our progress.
RBG Mel in chat pointing out another great place. Mist Dragon could be at the Maga Sister spot in Zot when you don't have the Earth Crystal, because you can get to that fight without the Earth Crystal. So if Mist Dragon's there
that
blocking,
is one of my 6.
that's it's so trolly. I love it. I love it.
It would be one whale of a spot, but it would also stand out pretty well. We might check the other ones first, but
yeah, that's the kind of galaxy brain gamble that I don't think anyone would make unless they had cleared literally everything else and found no underworld access.
2 item shops and River finds the lives. About 90 or so would do.
One of the few guaranteed items to be in the overworld, lives, and Starvels, I believe, are the 2. Fantastic use items. You can get a lot of use out of Reflect, not only for knocking Mega Nukes back at, Lunar Dragons, but also for bypassing certain boss skips. Or boss scripts, I should say, pardon me.
We also saw the coffins for sale. I don't think River picked up many of them. He's not one that's prone to the egg grind.
They're also quite pricey this early in the game. 5,000 apiece. Very hard to justify spending a bunch on them when hourglasses will still get the job done for you, just at a slower pace.
We've got the Asura fight for Zerakian. I wondered if anybody is going to make that different play. So far, it's Zerakian. Or Xyrak, I'm sorry.
The guards are lying behind. This is a completely free fight with those hourglass ones that Xyrak bought. These guards will each take one swing that they probably already have queued up, and then they're just gonna stand still while they get walloped.
Oh, Medusa arrows is fantastic to have here. I was gonna say this would be even more free with coffins, but Medusa arrows will do just fine.
Absolutely, kind of an underrated item. Not if. Again, we are on the N1 flag set, so a lot of enemies retain those status vulnerabilities, like Petrification. Using them to just dish out actual damage, not that effective or efficient, but if the enemy has the status vulnerability, kapow, insta-kill.
It's the rat tail in the Baron Inn, which starts to make for an interesting scenario where it could be hook and then tail leads to the item. Or leads to the progression.
Absolutely. So this has left us with only one option, and that is Mount Ordeal. So it looks like fcoughlin will be our first to show us just what kind of seed we're going to have here. Will it be a hook? Will it be a magma key? Will we have to go hopefully play some music to get our actual underworld opened up? Or will it be a hidden dragon? So Fred's going to be revealing this to us in short order, hopefully.
But there's a couple of spots Mist Dragon could still be hiding. What would be fascinating is to see a boss that we know could not block the subworld progress.
Oh, that's true. If we see Golbez, Valvolus, or Wyvern here, we know that there is underground access somewhere else because of the B1 flag.
Mylon Z will be up first.
French Vanilla Mylon Z. A very slow, well, this slot has such weak physical attack that it won't be much of an issue. The main annoyance here would be getting punched and poisoned, so you have your, eye strain while walking back to the save point.
I don't think we had any cabins yet that I recall. But Tella does have heal.
That's true. One of the more useful spells in his default spell list. I'd say Heal and Blink are probably my 2 favorites that he starts with. Though Cure 2 doing a little work against this undead monstrosity. Takes it down fairly quickly.
It is nice. By the way, a subtle pickup is we did find a Dwarf Axe here. Dwarf Axe is a good one-handed axe for Sid. It's also useful if you want to try to do some agility manipulation for Zeromus.
Absolutely. It gives them -5 agility, which means that you can bump it like Cecil or Kane or whoever your agility anchor is going to be up a few extra levels and equip that at the start of the fight to bump them back down, then flip over to a more powerful weapon. Also, another fun fact about it is that it is the only weapon you can use to back row glitch Kane. Cecil and Sid can both use bow and arrows, but Kane only will not equip a bow. He's like, no, I'm good. Now a throwing axe, we can work with that.
Ladies, brace yourself. We just had Golbez taking a shower. Now, everybody stay calm. But we know the Mist Dragon is not at the Octomon spot. We've also got Odin here on the mountain.
That is a fairly rough spot, but Fred gets through, does enough damage, knocks down the Norse deity. I would not be surprised if some of our runners may end up taking a wipe there. Hopefully, everyone will make it through and keep this thing pretty hype. But ooh, that can be a very nasty Odin spot.
It can be. It's the lower HP spot there, I believe. No, that doesn't sound right. But in any event, Xyrak now sees the Odin fight. And who's hanging around in the mirror today?
There's our Underworld access. Got the magma key, which means that rat tail is going to be, well, once our other racers get the rat tail, will be looming in the back of their minds thinking, oh no, is Hook going to be hidden on the moon and then the rat tail gives me my crystal? Oh, in a blue robe fight, is it? Oh, it's just Water Hag. I was rooting for a gauntlet just to slow everybody down a little bit, but no.
It'd slow you down, but relatively it wouldn't do anything, and that would be solo HP that Tella might whack a soldier to death.
That's true. That's true. The one sad thing to see with the Water Hag is that this relative so freebie bosses, as I like to call them, ones that either have a script you can manipulate, or ones that you can just throw an hourglass on and call it a day. We've seen the Kaipo guard fight, we've seen the Baron Inn guard fight, we've seen Water Hag. We're starting to run pretty low on freebie bosses for those later Lunar spots. So hopefully we'll see some actual rough boss fights later on in this scene.
Fred will be the first with access to the underground, presuming that Xyrak is able to overcome the great obstacle of the Water Hag boss. He'll be the second with that access. That will open up one potential character spot at the Dwarf Castle. More potential item spots than that.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be... This is going to give us the opportunity to see how each of our runners likes to route the Underworld, because they're all going to have cleaned out the Overworld pretty much. We'll see if fcoughlin and GreatWightHope go by Baron Inn on their way before going underground. But once we get under there, we're going to see, are people going to go to Dwarf Castle hoping for a new character? Are they going to get the free key item checks in Feymarch and via checking Yang in Sylph Cave and coming back to Sheila? A lot of options available, and we still have that tower key. So there's a double key item slot you can check at Lower Babel. So hopefully we'll get a little bit of divergence here and get to see just how each of our racers likes to play this.
Also, not seen Sirens for sale yet, which could affect your play a little bit. Levels aren't as easy to come by without it. We saw one check for potential Mist Dragon on the Overworld. Did we see the vanilla location, though?
If we did, I missed it, but I think that if anyone is peeking the vanilla Octomam spot, they probably peeked the vanilla Mist Dragon spot as well. And
Chat confirming Rivers checked both spots. That makes sense.
Yeah, you probably don't half commit to checking those. So.
Well, Ben, it's been pretty similar between the runners so far. Biggest difference was Xyrak going to the Baron Inn before anyone else.
And Fred has opted to decline checking the Baron in. It is a duplicate character, and it is 2 fights. May come back later once he knows both fights are even more trivial than they are now, actually. But if that rat tail ends up holding an important item, it could end up biting him. I know that Fred doesn't usually use any kind of tracking other than doing things mentally or with pencil and paper. So hopefully he doesn't overlook that spot if worse comes to worse.
Well, whatever your system, you have to make sure it works for you. A rune axe is a nice find. Kind of brave of Fred to be checking all those chests, but I guess his plane was just reset once he found the monsters.
Not
And
a
now he
bad
can go
idea.
get the treasures from every other chest down here.
Yeah, a little bit of saves coming. Just make sure you know which one has it, and then go ahead and loot the rest. I'm fond of doing this kind of play, especially on T2 flags, where the treasure chests are based more on location, in which case, all of a sudden, these Feymarch chests become much more lucrative.
A question about the double treasure chest check. I believe what's usually going on there is people are discarding so fast and they say, wait a second, I wanted that item. And then they go back and get it from the chest again. Which you can do as long as you do not leave the screen. If you leave the screen, you lose it.
Absolutely. And there's differing strategies even in that regard. Some people may prefer, let me just grab everything. I would rather do the discard menu where it pops up and you can discard up to 8 items. Or other people may think, I save more time by discarding, thinking about it, then picking it up a second time. And of course, there's always avoiding the embarrassing situation where you pick up a dark matter, completely worthless, just there to serve as a speed trap and make you feel bad about not being more discerning with your treasure.
No key item, but a nice find in a ribbon at the rat trail chest.
Very good
That
piece
is
of
what
armor.
Fred is the first to find.
Doesn't really give you stat boost like some of the other hats do, but it has excellent status resistances and, more importantly, absolutely fantastic magic resistance and evade. Throw one of those and an adamant armor and a protector crystal ring on a character, and they can just basically shrug off Big Bang after Big Bang at the Z fight.
Looks like it was Dark Elf and Antlion taking up the Leviathan and Asura spots.
Dark Elf?
That's very interesting.
Yeah, Dark Elf at that spot, not bad at all. I think we actually saw Dark Elf there the other night, and our racers didn't have much of a problem with him. Now, Antlion, on the other hand, that fast and that rough with the hits, can do work, but if you have a Moon Veil and a Mage, or a Moon Veil and someone with Jump or Aim, that spot also becomes pretty free.
I should point out there is a chance that that is also Octomon, and there's some dispute on it in chat since we saw it go pretty fast. But either way, I think both those bosses are fairly beatable there. Still too low to take them on now, but you wouldn't need to be, for example, high 40s to take either one of those fights.
Absolutely. The main thing to consider is what kind of time investment it would take to knock off either one. Are you going to, even if it's, easy peasy, but it takes you 20 minutes, you're going to fall so far behind when you could have just come back later when you already had the levels, already had the equipment to clear them out much faster. GreatWightHope also taking a peek at our Feymarch bosses. That's absolutely Antlion right there.
Okay. For
Fred
quick
gonna
peek
do
as I got at it, that was pretty good on that.
absolutely. It's like, oh hey, it's some kind of appendage sticking up out of the ground. That doesn't actually narrow down our Final Fantasy IV bosses that much.
I try to be pretty good at my boss recognition just from the sprite. I can't be good at many things, but I can be good at that.
It's guy pointing out that we have found our Bacchus wine. We can have Berserker strats going on all day long, but still no sirens.
Good party to have those strats with. Few
So we are
tents
seeing
is not bad either, since we don't have cabins at this point.
also true, also true. So I wonder if our racers, we've seen several of them going and having a quick chat with Yang in the Sylph Cave, I wonder if they are going to go straight to Sheila to get that free item check, or if they're going to try to route in more of the Underworld before heading back up. What would you do in this situation, you think, Trin?
This is such an interesting question. I want to get into Dwarf Cave. I know I'm not strong enough to do it. I also know I have probably 90 life potions for everybody. I am thinking, do I hit one of those Tower of Zot trapped treasure chests and get 10 levels or so? Because I don't really have another good source of it right now. But doing that, it could let me finish Babel, it could let me do Dwarf Cave, and then go back to the overworld.
Oh, and Fred finding both cabins and Cure 2s in the Dwarf Fortress item shop. Very useful items indeed. And actually giving a peek to the weapon and armor shops right quick. They seem to be on his route here, so looks like... Oh, cannot afford those wizard robes right now, Fred. You just spent all your money on potions.
Ah, but wait, my friend, there's more money to be had in this castle of dwarfs.
Yeah, Fred using this lead that he got by bypassing the Baron Inn to do a little bit more looting than the rest of our racers.
And you might find a black shirt and tell those wizard robes, I don't need you.
And Sheila giving GreatWightHope the vanilla pan. So we're going to see GreatWightHope do a little shuttle run here and go right back down to Sylph Cave. Back and forth, back and forth. Get all three of these key items checked in a row.
You know, it's definitely something you have to remind yourself of when you're in K2 and above. The item that the Sliffs give you is one of the potential key item locations, and it looks like Xyrak is about to challenge Leviathan.
Xyrak apparently deciding that 3 characters is not enough for me. I want a 4th. Let's go through these boss fights and see what we can get.
This is an interesting fight because the big wave is a percentage attack, so you're not so scared of that. He switches to ice too, which now with the star veils up will be reflected.
Yeah, the thing I'm wondering is okay, Xyrak also bought a nice hefty stack of Cure 2s. I saw 40 of them in his inventory right there. So he does have healing in spite of having the star veils up. The question is though, will you be able to dish out enough damage? This Calbrina spot has quite a bit of of HP to chew through.
But you do have all of Tedla's spells.
GreatWightHope picking up the Legend Sword from the Sylphs. We were talking earlier about that adamant and how you wouldn't hate seeing Legend pop up. And now GreatWightHope is going to have a very well-equipped Paladin Cecil as soon as he gets over to Kakol's blacksmithy and gets that sword forged.
Also opens up another shop. What if the sirens are there?
Could be. Although honestly, at this point, with an X-Scowl and everything, I'd be more interested in seeing some real juicy bits of equipment there. Go ahead and sell me some crystal rings, Kakol. That's what I want.
That'd be pretty nice. So Xyrak is doing steady damage here, and HP is doing fine. It looks like he's in good shape for this fight.
FC finally picking up that rat tail back in Baron Inn. Given that he's in the overworld, he's probably going to go do his Sheila now and then end up on the same route as GreatWightHope. But this Excalibur is going to do work for both FC and GreatWightHope when they do eventually make their way over to Dwarf Fortress.
Meanwhile, River, if he doesn't have the Star Veils, seems to be having a harder time of the fight. No, he does have Star Veils. Take that back. But he's got Tella down, so he'll have to revive Tella. Was that actually Crystal Sword?
It was crystal gauntlets.
Ring.
Not rings, it was crystal gauntlets. And GreatWightHope picks up
one.
Yeah, picks up one for his Cecil. Gonna go ahead and buff up the Paladin defense, just a hair. But didn't quite call it. Also saw Dragoon Shields, another great piece of equipment. Will have most basic elemental damages, aside from being a top tier shield in its own right. And then also
it was a Wyvern after that great play against Leviathan, Xyrak does not get to see the item here in Dwarf.
Ooh. Now, Rivers, an expert run buffer, of course, holds second place on pretty much all the vanilla speed runs. Has his Cecil, I'm not sure how his agility will play out here. Let's see if he can run buffer a Starveil and just win this fight outright.
This is the Y2 flag, so it's random. I didn't see what his attack was.
Oh, huh.
Sheila has the hook. Turning the pan.
I think that may be a typo, because that is definitely a...
Okay, yeah, that's Mega Nuke for sure.
Yeah, that is absolutely a Mega Nuke.
Oh,
yeah,
why
is Turbo?
Chat's right.
Why is the Turbo flag? What are we talking about, Trin?
I'm talking about how Great White just picked up the hook.
There we go. Which means Great White... Oh, Great White hasn't gotten that rat tail yet. Okay, going to Baron. There we go.
Going for the quick checks, which I understand because the level's just not there to do some of the other locations. Great White hasn't seen Wyvern yet, but that's sure going to scare you off if you've seen it.
So Fred doing his shuttle run back to the Sylphs. We'll see if he routes into Cole as well, gets the hook, turns in the rat tail. It looks like, unless Xyrak decides to do one of these Feymarch bosses, we're going to probably see very similar moves by our runners in the next little bit here.
Does somebody get brave and try one of these? Does somebody go Tower of Babel? You could probably take the cannon fight.
Oh yeah, cannon fight would be easy peasy at this point. Only, what, 1,000 HP to chew through at that spot, roughly?
Yeah, could be a little concerned over the attacks, but we've already seen Golbez, we've already seen Wyvern.
Yeah, let's take a quick look here. Pulling up the spreadsheet.
Oh my. Well, Light Render, thank you so much for the support of RPG Limit Break. To everybody who just picked up some new emotes, let's see them showing off in chat. But thank you for supporting RPG Limit Break, and thank you, RPG Limit Break, for hosting us tonight. And of course, thank you to the great Scala Kitty for being our restreamer.
And just a quick reminder that your support of the RPG Limit Break Network supports NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. That's their charity partner, and they do great work all across the country. So your support doesn't just get cool emotes for everyone in chat, it also goes to a great cause.
Also want to thank Cool Pants Guy, who is keeping up with all the madness as our tracker tonight. There's been a lot to keep up with so far.
We've definitely been seeing a lot of key items early in this game. Not too many Garbo drops yet at all.
Well, even what wasn't the key item was a ribbon.
No Drain Spears tonight for these people. For these racers. Hopefully.
That also means there can't be too many on the moon, but what if the necessary item is on the moon?
Yeah, if our crystal ends up being on the moon, then everyone's preferred lunar routing will come into play heavily. People who, prefer to start here versus people who prefer to start here, someone will choose correctly, get that crystal, and have a huge advantage over their opponents.
Well, this time we definitely have Octomon. It's at the top of the tower, and that's where Xyrak is, to try and see what item 1 on here is. Has lit 3 for this fight, so should be in pretty decent shape.
The one thing to worry about here is only having those 3 characters to soak up these hits. So hopefully Xyrak can either knock down Octomem very quickly or get enough hits in quickly to decrease the octopus's speed.
Well, looks like the rat tail turns into the twin harp, so we will get serenaded this evening.
So this is shaping up to be quite the lovely rabbit hole. If this ends up not paying off, that means that we had the rat tail back at Baron Inn, and then to get that hook, you had to go Yang and Sylph Cave, Sheila, back to Yang, back to Sheila, unlock your hovercraft, finally turn it in, and now go to Cave Magnus. RPG Mail, that is what Xyrak is doing right now. Checking the tower. Apparently couldn't quite break through that Octomam spot. Gonna at least do the tower room before heading downstairs.
Well, here's the thing. That Cecil was only level 1 for that fight. You get Cecil alive through this fight, and I think that's doable.
Absolutely. And then there's also, of course, the trap chests that have the alarms that will summon other monsters that you can do a little mini grind on. You don't have to do a lot to get Paladin Cecil up to hitting like a truck and taking hits like a paladin.
And with that cover, could well protect Tella as you unleash the lit 3s. And My Bomb in Phase 3.
Christopher Warkin, thank you for subscribing to RPG Limit Break. Thank you for your support of both the channel and of Nami. Enjoy your emote, sir.
Alright, so my standing rule on the Twin Harp is I'm going to give it a chance to play out. And make sure we get a good listen.
I dare say that of all the races we've had in this round of 32, this is the longest we've gone with only 3 party members. And there is currently a free character spot for the checking. Anyone who has that hook can go check Cave Eblon and see who's hanging out there. Although we don't have to take that path to get to the Underworld. You could have Thusoya there, you could have Edge there, ready to throw that spoon at somebody. And Rivers is indeed making the dive. He's sick of having 3 characters. Let's go build this party up a little bit and see what we can do.
We also found the sirens, and we're about to find out what the harp song is.
Lots of things to be hype about at once on this seed. Monk fighting monk. Great thing to see there in Cave Eblon.
And you'll be a welcome party member.
Yang, stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself. That's our job. Oh, just to protect Ring for that tower key. Great piece of gear, but undoubtedly not what Xyrak was looking to see there. Oh, Valvolus, a Dark Elf spot with not a cane in sight.
This has been a challenging seed to make progress in. So here's my question if you're one of these runners. Do you consider that a frustrating thing because of what you're going through, or do you say, you know what, everybody's in the same boat as me, so there's a chance for me to separate myself?
I think that entirely depends on your success. If you have some real near misses with difficult bosses, then sure, you feel pretty great. You're like, that was rough. Maybe someone else wiped to it. But when you're the one doing the wiping, oh, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all, Trenton.
Well, Valus is down. We're going to find out what's at the Twin Harp spot.
Yeah, that Excalibur did work. It is the crystal, but we still don't have moon access. What a chain.
You want to run through what that was one more time?
Sure. So it was multi-parts. We had to get the rat tail from the Baron Inn fight, which wasn't that difficult. It was Asura at the guards, followed by the guards at the karate spot. Then we had to get our magma key to go underground for Mount Ordeals, and then you have to go Sylph Cave, Yang, Sheila and Fabul, Sylph Cave, Yang, Sheila and Fabul to finally get your hook, and then you go turn in that rat tail, you get a twin harp, Yeah, have a twin harp. You have to do music for everyone. I'm pretty sure that's in the actual league rules. And you play the music for everyone, and ta-da, you get your crystal. But you still got to get to Zeromus. So where do we go from here?
Well, there's two possible ways to get to Zeromus: the Darkness Crystal and the Pass. Not found either one. It'll be in a boss spot in both cases.
We do
Several
see
of our runners, their plans for a normal run do greatly involve that Darkness Crystal, since it unlocks one of the best spots to gain experience in the game.
Absolutely. Although with both GreatWightHope and FC diving Evelyn Cave here, they're going to find those sirens. So we do have a pretty decent grind available to us on Earth now. The yellow dragon eggs are great, especially if you hit 10 key items like GreatWightHope already has. And he'll be getting Yang in short order too. We don't have a white mage, but I'm not sure. Did we see Cure 3s for sale anywhere?
I don't think we've seen them as of yet. Of course, we've not seen the Moon shop.
At this point, I wonder if we do find an early pass, will you see someone just overgrind using sirens and take this 4-party team to the Zeromus fight? It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a 4-character team take on Z, but doing it without a full level white mage may be a little trickier than our racers care to gamble this evening.
Be a brave strategy, and Cecil's really the only one who has an in-game weapon. We don't have the claws for Yang. Rune Axe for Sid, that's reasonable. Tella, well, we've seen Lunar staffs for sale. They're here at the blacksmith. So you certainly have access to those.
I think we've seen at least one cat claw somewhere, but even without it, so much of
You're
Yang's
right.
damage
They're
formula.
in Xyrak's inventory.
Ah, gotcha. And also, so much of Yang's damage is just based on his level. Like, the formula for him is different from everyone else's. So really, all you have to do to get him in-game ready is just grind those levels. No gear not even really required. It helps, of course, but not as much of a necessity.
But yeah, if you got to your 3 tanks to very high levels, you could just go Berserk strats and could possibly do Zeromus on only one big bang if you planned it out right.
Now, Rivers, I believe, has already faced off with this Leviathan Wyvern combo, but having used those sirens, having leveled up a bit on the dragons, is back for more. Although it doesn't look like he leveled up too much, so we'll see if this is enough to actually get a Starbell off before the Mega Nuke strikes.
He's got Sid in the middle. Could have an agility set up expecting the Wyvern fight this time. Well, no, he's got Cecil anyway.
Yeah, Cecil, yeah.
Here I am complimenting him on this great strategy. Does not apply. Although we did find a Dwarf Axe earlier, so it's not out of the question that you could do something with Cecil.
Also true.
Scala Kitty declares we should have a music encore. I can't argue with that.
Well, the great thing about where the crystal is located this seed, we are going to get the initial one plus 3 music encores, as long as everyone finishes out the seed, of course. So Fred going to be the second one to snag his crystal. And then would not surprise me to see Xyrak follow this chain as well.
Yeah, and it kind of helps for Wyvern to be where he is to force you on that path, but what if he's guarding the Dark Crystal?
Ooh, that would be rough. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Getting that Starvel off. Rivers expertly run buffering with Sid. Sid getting first. And that Mega Nuke will be all she wrote for this dragon. Or not? Okay. I forgot. The actual... That's funny. The magic power at the Vanilla Golbez spot is so low, it is not quite enough for Wyvern to one-shot itself with its own Mega Nuke. That's amazing. I love it.
Well, the good news here is that Cecil's going to hit like approximately a rocket-boosted truck.
As long as he doesn't eat this nuke... Okay, good. So is Rivers going? Rivers going to go battle of attrition here. Try to use enough life potions to get the team up to a stable position before going ham on the Wyvern. Not a bad idea. You don't want to risk, your attacker who's about to swing getting hit by a nuke. This is definitely the safer way to do it. And after sitting through that Leviathan fight, I don't blame him for wanting to be a little safe here.
Well, Chad, we know you wanted it. Here comes the encore.
I will note that I believe this is GreatWightHope's first visit to Dwarf Castle, so he may be in for a rude surprise as soon as he gets to this Wyvern fight.
Fortunately, Wyvern seems to favor nuking Cecil today.
I mean, that's fine. Rivers has gotten the full team up. He'll win this through attrition, if through nothing else. And there we go.
There it is.
Now, if this ends up being the Darkness Crystal, and Rivers decides to go to the moon to hunt for the crystal instead of visiting the Twin Harp location, or pardon me, Cave Magnus, that could be very rough for him. But on the bright side,
Wow.
everyone else still has to break through that Wyvern to get there as well.
So the best case for Rivers here is if this is the pass. Great White says, "Hello, Wyvern."
And Rivers did get a little burned on the previous race, the one 2 nights ago, where he full cleared the entire Earth and ended up, I believe, taking 3rd place for it. And there's the Darkness Crystal. So if Rivers feels compelled to go scour the moon after what happened the other night, this could burn him pretty severely.
It also opens up the Giant of Babel, the Bahamut location, as well as all those lunar bosses and the Hummingway shop if you're still looking for something like, say, Cure 3s.
Huh, Rivers lifed up a character, looked like he was getting ready to do more of a Yellow Dragon Siren grind, and then has taken back off. Oh, he's activating that Darkness Crystal. This
Well,
could be
could just
bad.
be a moon check. You've got the free character there.
Could get a white mage, absolutely.
Could also check Hummingway, see if there's those Cure 3s. River's preferred grinding spot, for what I know of him, seems to be to go to the D machine.
He is exceptional with that grind, but having already made the financial investment in Sirens, I think he would stick either to Yellow Dragons or go do the double gold dragon fight on the 6th floor of the Lunar subterrane.
With 10 items, that could be so powerful. I mean, per Siren. I think the max is 240.
It's something up there. It's pretty ridiculous. But yeah, I can see him thinking, oh, if I'm gonna grind, let me grind with a white mage in my party. So but if he decides to full clear a moon while he's here, ooh, that is gonna be rough.
Well, other than doing the dragons, I don't see him being able to do it at his current levels. He'd have to get some more.
Worst Hummingway shop ever.
I blinked. What did it have?
It had bombs, eagle eyes, and bestiaries. So if you really need to scan a monster, or look at your surroundings, or use the weakest Fire 1 spell, they got you covered.
Well, that's unfortunate then.
So let's see. Is it a white mage? Who's it gonna be? Womp womp.
Well, will you take Kane?
I would be, at this point, very tempted to take the... Well, again, if I already had the crystal, I would be tempted to take Kane, take Sid, take Cecil, take Young, over level, just go wild with your levels, and then just Bacchus wine the Zeromus fight. Forget healing, just power through it. Of course, you'd probably, lose the race that way, but it'd be fun to watch.
Well, it's an interesting strategy, especially if nobody else has got the white mage. Rivers has seen more characters than anyone else, significantly at this point.
I am very glad to see, though, that Rivers did come back to the blue planet. Again, we know where the crystal is, and had he continued on the moon, he would have been in a very bad situation.
This is interesting for Xyrak. I don't see those treasures checked very often. And certainly not required in K2. Or no potential items either. Rivers is here dealing with the eggs.
If
And
I had to
answer
guess... Oh,
Chat's
sorry.
question, no, I don't think we saw Cure 3s.
Yeah, I don't think so either. If I had to guess, I would say that Rivers may not do a full grind at this point, but may instead just grind to a point where he thinks he can clear out the rest of the Earth with ease. Because I can't see this being a real... Okay, he did one. He just wanted to get a few levels on those characters, get Kane caught up a little bit, and now he's going... Okay, he's going to Babel.
This could pay off well, especially against Octomon, which is giving GreatWightHope some problems. Again, for GreatWightHope, this is a race just for pride, trying to close out this round of 32. Didn't go as good as you hoped. Try and get a win. Or a Pinktail's not a bad consolation prize.
Very useful item. We do already have the hook, so there's nothing keeping us from turning it in for an adamant armor. Pretty much the best piece of gear in the game.
So, what are our possibilities at this point? We know where the Darkness Crystal is. So Sand Ruby, Luca Key, Earth Crystal, and Pass, as well as Baron Key, are still outstanding in the world.
Absolutely, and as far as places available to us on Earth, the Leviathan and Asura spots have not been conquered and checked, and then Mist Dragon could be hiding at this point at either Magus Sisters or King and Queen Evelyn, although neither of those are really a place you would check, of course. And then finally, we have pretty much every spot on the moon available to us. But only if you're Rivers with the Darkness Crystal. We'll see if Fred and Xyrak manage to get past the Wyvern this time. And if so, Fred will be in go mode.
Tella did not take the Mega Nuke.
That Magic Evade coming in handy. I wonder if Tella's wearing that Protect Ring that I think Xyrak got from Tower of Babel Cannon Room earlier.
Fred is through the fight. He'll be the next to have the Darkness Crystal. Do you take this party and go?
I think you may. At this point, what do we know? We know Kane is on the moon. Fred may go check that spot, see that. But to be in go mode at this point, I can't see it being worth your time to actually scour around for a white mage. You would like to have Hero 3s, you'd like to have a white mage, but this party can do the Zeromus fight. You just have to level up a little bit.
And I mean, at this point, what even would you check trying to find another key item? Because any other character is behind something.
The only thing I could conceive of would be if instead of doing a more traditional grind, yellow dragon eggs, gold dragons on the moon, machine dragons on the giant, maybe you decide to fight a couple of the lunar boss spots and hope to get lucky with a sand ruby or an earth crystal. But that seems way too marginal.
Then you have to turn around and go back to Earth.
Exactly. So I think you just go for it, and I think that's what Fred's gonna do. Keeping my fingers crossed for it, at least. Although, of course, our most chaotic scenarios would involve Xyrak finishing first, but if Fred finishes first and Rivers takes third or lower, Fred takes one of those top 4 drafting positions, which is pretty exciting for him to pull this off tonight.
Chat points out you'd be wary of banking on Tella as the white mage. If you're bringing Tella to Zeromus, I don't think you're planning on Tella actually healing.
Yeah, I think your intention is to overlevel everyone, nerf the first Big Bang, give all your other characters one, and let them go to work. That would actually be my plan at this point. I would grab a silk web, grab Bacchus wines, and let my Zerkers Zerk.
And you
Of
could have
course,
Tella cast Berserk, he could also cast Slow to do useful things.
definitely plenty of utility for Tella, but as far as hoping him to keep your entire party healed up or for himself to survive even a nerf Big Bang, probably not going to happen.
His hit points just don't get very high, even the higher levels.
So Rivers has cleared both boss fights in Lower Babel. We're going to see, well, we already know what the rewards are, and they're not quite what he's looking for. We'll see where he heads off to next.
Did Fred just dismiss Palom to take Kane?
That would fit in with the quad Zerker strats. Absolutely. I'm on board with that. Tella does have the weak spell already, which you can use along with your hourglasses to quick kill those gold dragons and go ahead and gain a bunch of levels. And then it can at least throw an extra berserk spell off if you don't have enough Bacchus wine, and hopefully get that quad Zerker strat going on. Should be interesting.
With
My
four
question
of them
here
going, you could definitely pull that off, although I don't think we really have the big weapon for Kane.
Ooh, that is rough. Nothing better than the plain Jane spear. Ugh. That does throw a little bit of wrench in the entire situation.
Unless you have bow and arrows for Sid and could switch an axe over to Kane.
Xyrak checking a certain trapped lunar path chest, hoping to get a good bit of gear. I wonder if Xyrak's going to stay on the moon past this point or come back to Earth and clear more spots there.
That is such an interesting play. There's so many trapped treasure chests on the moon. Well, if you go the lunar subterranean path, there's only one.
Yeah, the only one here will be the hair dryers, as people like to call them. So even without a weapon for Kane, though, Cecil is going to do work with that crystal sword. Young's going to do work with, just his fists. Could still be able to pull this off, even without having a really good weapon for Kane. And of course, could just get ridiculously lucky. I need to pull this up. I don't remember if the King Ryus can actually drop the Dragoon Spear or not. I know it is. If they do, it's a ridiculously rare drop. It may only be the blue and red dragons that can drop it, though.
Alright, so River has made the correct play as we know. He is going for the crystal. Not going to be that far behind the other runners.
The question I have is, did Rivers happen to pick up a good weapon for Kane anywhere? Because we know that Fred's Kane is stuck with that plain spear, but if Rivers opened a chest that had, even a Blizzard Spear, that would greatly improve his DPS at the Zeromus fight.
Fred gets 180,000 experience, not bad. Kane gains 35 levels.
That's a good number of levels. Oh, okay. He has a rune axe he can throw on him, so that'll be
I
good
thought
enough.
there were axes there. It's not your first choice, but it'll do.
Earthhammer. Oh, and another rune. Well, that's Xyrak equipping the rune axe. So okay. So if Fred has an Earthhammer for Sid and a rune axe for Kane, that works out pretty well. Earthhammer is a little more. There's a little less variance in its damage, and it doesn't peak quite as high as the rune axe does, but it still does all right for Sid at high levels.
Using the Psych to restore Tella's HP.
Or MP. MP.
MP, yeah.
Yeah.
Ryu's do have some HP. But did he go Berserk strats?
I mean, that's fine. I'm just surprised that he's not picking Yang back up.
I might do that when there's only one left, but if you're gonna try and life glitch, okay. Cut it a little close, but he got that off in time.
I'm confused by this because you can't use Yang as an agility anchor because you have Cecil. So why not let the monk get the levels?
It's not that many, but still, if there's one person you want to gain levels, I would think it is Yang.
Yeah, his attack power based off his level, in a way that no other character's attack power is. So, but he's back up now. He probably just didn't want to take the time mid-fight to do it. That's fine. He'll gain the levels anyway here. Xyrak fighting the Elements battle in Cape Bahamut. We know there is not going to be any true value here. Maybe something handy for him, but we know where the crystal is, Xyrak. You need to go give the people the music.
Gotta do the crowd pleaser.
Which Rivers, having done, gets his crystal and enters go mode. A little bit behind Fred at this rate.
He was the first to get the Darkness Crystal, having run buffered and then getting the wall up against Wyvern.
Fred checking his levels, high 40s, low 50s, looking pretty comfortable. I wouldn't be surprised if he does a little bit of an extra grind here. Again, not having a true white mage, you would ideally like all your fighters to be able to survive a full unnerved Big Bang, if not two. So we'll see if we'll see just how high Fred takes this team before going to the Z fight. Xyrak gets an Avenger. That's a very nice weapon for any number of our team members. But everyone else is just going to kind of go ahead and go to the Z fight.
Question in chat, where was the Darkness Crystal? It was the Dwarf Castle item, so you had to beat first Leviathan and then Wyvern to get it.
A rather speedy Wyvern that gave most of our runners at least one wipe when they first encountered it.
180,000 experience a fight Fred is getting here. Per fight, it's a lot more than the eggs, but it does take longer to get through these fights than the eggs.
But you are already on the moon at this point. I like Fred doing this. I like seeing the overgrind in this case. And I think it's going to pay off for him. Rivers is doing a little bit of shopping before going for it. Possibly doing one final check, make sure he didn't miss Cure 3s anywhere. But this is going to be a pretty fun, I'm guessing, quad Zerker strat for the final Z fight.
I do like seeing the play when you're already on the moon. If we had the pass, the eggs I think would win out on time. But considering you're going to have to walk this anyways, I think that makes up the gap.
Rivers diving down into Fey March, although already in go mode. There must have been something for sale in this shop that he wants to go back for.
The wizards, possibly? That's the only thing I can remember standing out to me.
It looks like Fred has decided his grind is over. Let's do this thing.
Chat mentioning silk webs, those would be big. Getting rid of the tiara so you know he's not planning to pick up anyone else.
Saving the Dwarf Axe, probably intends to do some Cecil agility manipulation. Ether 2s for sell here could be useful for keeping Tella's MP topped off, which implies that you're not really going full Zerker. I think Fred's just going to believe in the power of the beef and just swing away.
Well, all I can say is I hope you saved. Because you don't want to do the grind over.
Absolutely. That's a little too headstrong even for my taste.
He's got good levels, and this could pay off. He's certainly going to be the first to get to the fight.
And Xyrak clearing out these moon bosses. Instead of, you got to give the people the music, Xyrak. It's a Scala Kitty seed.
Yes, and I think this officially qualifies as a Scala Kitty Classic considering the quest for the crystal. Would you like to go through that one more time?
Sure. So we got the rat tail back at the Baron Inn behind Asura and the Baron Guards, which, okay, we have a rat tail. Where do we get our hook? Well, you get your magma key from Mount Ordeals, and then you go to Yang and Sylph Cave. You talk to Sheila for the vanilla pan. You talk to Yang and Sylph Cave again and wallop him up on the head with that. Then Sheila gives you the hook. Hook plus rat tail gives Twin Harp. Twin Harp gives you your crystal. And the crystal will let us know whose butt we're going to kick tonight. Let's see who the Zeromus sprite is.
Chat already placing their guesses. I love it. Asking where Darkest Crystal was. It was at Dwarf Castle.
Behind a Leviathan Wyvern double whammy. Alright, who we got? Oh my goodness.
I don't know what to say.
We have Azrael, the true final boss of Undertale, of course. Oh, spoiler miss. Sorry. It's been out for like 3 years. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's beyond the statute of spoiler limitations.
It's fine. I promise you will still cry if you go play the game to 100% completion.
Xyrak is clearing these moon bosses. He's being rewarded in equipment, but not much else. Chad asks if Tella missed with a soak web. I didn't see it, but I believe it. If you queue up anything too fast, it will not work. Basically, my queue is generally that name change. You want to watch for the name to actually change, and then use your spell, your item, your whatever. The one exception being Berserks. You can use those while you're waiting. First Berserk, does Tella live? First Big Bang, does Tella live?
Excellent,
he does.
Survived. So the question now is, do you try to queue up a Cure 4 for the entire party, or do you just slap one on Kane? I would just throw one on Kane and let Tella take a nice little nap. Let's see what Fred does. Oh, he does the full heal.
Maybe Cure 3s, try to get 2 off, but no, I don't think you try and do party healing.
This will probably make it to where Yang, Sid, and Cecil can survive a bit longer, but it probably won't be enough on Kane to let him survive another Big Bang, sadly. But if you can get 2 off, you're in business. Single target on Kane, maybe? Come on, Tella. Come on, Tella.
I think you'd have to do Cure 3, hoping to get it off in time.
Oh, actually, Cure 4 has delay 0. Cure 1, Cure 2, and Cure 3 have delay 1. Cure 4 is the fastest of the 4 Cure spells.
Well, I learned something new. Of course, it doesn't matter if you don't have enough magic points for it.
Also true, as is the case often with Tella.
The chat also brings up the idea of nerfing Big Bang again. You could do that, but you wouldn't want the counter nuke to hit one of the 3 you're planning to survive.
There we go. That puts Kane in safe range for another Big Bang. And I think, yeah, we did have a phase shift, so the second Big Bang didn't go off. This would be the third queued one coming up. And I think Fred's going to bring this home.
Yeah, this looks very good so far. Damage numbers are great. I mean, Cecil hitting for 5k with that Excalibur. Who says you can't bring Tella to the Zeromus? Oh, he's got an elixir too. So full heal.
Yeah, Tella will be taking a nap now, but I think the other 4 party members are going to bring this home. Yang and Sid both able to survive a full Big Bang on top of this, and with these DPS numbers, I think Fred's going to be in great shape. Are we even going to see a Meteo at this rate?
It's iffy.
Okay. There's a Meteo, okay.
Okay.
Cecil just dodging all the meatballs falling from the sky, and with that Excalibur hit, Fred takes it. First place. Official time, 1 hour, 9 minutes, 25 seconds. GG, Fred Coughlin. Beautiful finish. Let's see if we can get him in here for an interview.
We will certainly try. Provisionally, that's going to take Fred up to 13 points. It's the first part of the scenario he needed to be able to make the top 4.
I think Fred's been saying in several chats, though, that he would actually prefer Rivers to take this top 4 spot so that he doesn't have to worry about all the logistics of drafting. And, well, good news for Fred, Rivers is on his way to the Zeromus fight. And of course, our other 3 racers, if they do have IRC open, will know Fred is finished. And that creates that little momentary bit of panic. Let's see if it may have driven Rivers to fighting Zeromus a little too soon. And if it makes Xyrak reconsider his strategy of clearing out these Lunar bosses.
Did you see what level Rivers got to?
His Cecil is level 44, which means that he's at a good 28 agility without a Dwarf Axe. If he had the Dwarf Axe on, it'd be a little off. But the rest of his team, I think he leveled up high enough to make this fight happen. We'll see.
So Fred, GG, and what a nice friendly path to the crystal, huh?
Oh, gosh. Oh, that was a fun one.
It's the Scala Kitty seed. You have to play the music for the audience, right? Right?
Oh, exactly. I love anytime I get the chance to play the music, I love doing the chance to do it. I mean, especially where my characters were low level and, yeah, Wyvern decided to say no to the team. It was definitely worth it.
Yeah, I think Wyvern dunked on every one of you at least once.
I'm sure of it.
Beautiful execution, by the way, with the Quad Zerker Strat, living the Tala life. I always love it when I see someone throw the Quake kit away and be like, no, we're sticking with the old man. We're good to go.
I got scared for a minute. I forgot he had a shield on. I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to carry his regular spear to the final boss. Did I make a mistake not taking Palom with me? And then I remembered, oh right, all the axes are two-handed, so I did have a weapon for him, but I'd rather have him berserking than Palom casting magic there. I'd rather have the Quad Zerkers thing.
Yeah, we were a little nervous too when you were going through your equipment menu. It's like, wait, is he stuck with a plain spear? Okay. Oh, okay. Axe is good. So how did you feel about the Z fight? Were you nervous at all, or did you just know your team had it the entire way through?
I mean, I've done Quad Zerkers enough, especially with this team having mostly offensive weapons that I had. I'm more comfortable with Edge in there instead of the 4 of them specifically, but Quad Zerkers, I know if I've got enough strong offense on there, I can usually at least skip the second Big Bang. Got a little scared there with Kane when I missed the Silk Web and the nuke went onto Kane there. Got nervous because of how little health Kane was sitting on, but fortunately I was able to just get around in time to get the heal on him. But at that point I was just kind of just cross my fingers and pray. I knew I had enough damage that with that team that I could take an unnerfed Big Bang if I needed to. That's why I spent extra time leveling up there, hoping that would be enough. And in this case, it worked.
Excellent. Well, we have good news and either better news or worse news, depending on your personal game plan. And that's that you are currently in the top 4.
Woo!
Of course, if Rivers finishes in second place, and he's the only other racer right now in go mode, he will bump you out of the top 4. You'll be in the overall. So were you I know we had been joking about it on the Discord and everything. Were you hoping to actually get to be one of our group drafters, or were you hoping to? Okay.
No, I wanted to avoid it. I was not actually going to do it, but I legitimately felt I was in a position where it would have been game theoretically probably slightly better for me to be sitting there with the game paused at Zeromus to wait for one person to finish, just because second place was going to be ideal for me. I don't really want to be the one picking everything, so hopefully Rivers finishes here, takes it, and gets that position, so that way I won't have to do anything like that.
Well, we'll see how his team plays out. He apparently not going Quad Zerker like you did, having Palom on the team instead of Kane. So we'll see if his Zeromus fight lets him get through unscathed and take that. For now, GreatWightHope is in the right position to get that Darkness Crystal in inner go mode. Xyrak is still a little off base here.
As I said, if it took all the it's the fact of just taking all those turns at Albuquerque there to figure out where the crystal was. And if you got to the darkness crystal before you followed the dark elf chain, I don't know what I would have done in that scenario. I might have gone up to the moon just with, the quality of competition here.
Yeah, we were worried a little bit that would be River's play, because he did full clear the Earth in his match 2 nights ago, and it burned him a little bit. And then, but he decided to just grab the character, come back down, and Xyrak did clear out a few of the moon bosses, but I'm guessing may have seen your dot done and think, okay, it has to be somewhere on Earth, and came back down to look for it.
Just checking the lunar spots now. I think we already saw him lying cleared by somebody else, but Great White. Soon to get by Wyvern. 3 people alive. A little bit easier time.
Yeah, with that amount of HP on Cecil, you could easily tank 3 Mega Nukes at that point, so not much to worry about on the fight at these levels.
How glad were you to see the Excalibur in this seed?
Oh, pretty darn excited. At the point I was contemplating, okay, do I put an axe on Cecil to be able to have him, doing damage? Because I wanted to have at least 2 people. I mean, with that 3-person party, that was not exactly the best party to be running around the early game with the dupe being present in the overworld. So really, if you wanted to get anything, you had to go, 3-person party, and I needed something for Cecil to do damage with. And when that Legend Sword fell, I was like, okay, that's a winner. We're going to take a small little detour and get ourselves that Excalibur, so that way we actually have a good weapon.
Yeah, it did seem to be, I think, the longest one I've watched in which our racers were stuck at 3 characters for that amount of time.
Yeah, it was not pretty. I want to say the very first match potentially could have rivaled that there with our Edward and a Wonder Twin start and some pretty nasty bosses on the overworld, and I think there was also a dupe on that one, so we were really stuck for a while there. But yeah, this was not pretty.
And GreatWightHope
have you looked at the next round yet, and/or is there anything you're looking forward to?
That's a good question. I haven't really looked at the next round yet. I mean, the main hope for me was just simply to hopefully get into top 12, so that way I wouldn't have to do a play-in race. But got lucky there, so pretty much at this point I think I'm playing on borrowed time. So if I get any survivals and advancements in the next round, absolutely great.
I hear a little bit of sandbagging in your voice there, Fred. I think you're selling yourself a little short and maybe trying to be a little bit of a sleeper. Whoever drafts you better be prepared to play.
Well, thank you for the compliment. I'll respectfully disagree on that, but you're allowed to believe what you believe, and apparently it's really not what we believe anyway. It's what those 4 captains end up believing.
And hey, you 2 could be playing against each other soon.
Oh boy.
But at least not in a play-in match.
That is the one good thing. Yes, I will not deny that at all.
Completely dodged that bullet.
Thoughts on this one tonight, Fred?
Sorry?
Any other thoughts on this one tonight?
No, I mean, it looks like it was a really good race here. Hopefully, the rest of this race looks out really good for everyone here. And, as I said, ended up being a fun one. So thanks a lot for the commentary. I'm looking forward to watching this back.
All right, thank you, Fred. River, meanwhile, Meteophase. The end is near.
Will he be able to get these last damages in before Meteo takes out his party?
He's got good health on Yang. Meteo doesn't do that much damage to an individual person, but when people are low...
Clutch! Rivers has bumped Fred out of the top 4 with an official SRL time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, 32 seconds. He will be your 4th drafter, along with Kobahi, Dipwood, and Nirm. We don't know who he'll be choosing from, but we know he has to figure out that draft strategy and figure it out soon.
Okay. And River will be joining us. He just needs to take a little AFK first, which is understandable considering our runners have been at this for the better part of 2 hours now. Not just the running time, but the setup time. And Xyrak, now at this point, will get in, but the question is where, and this could make a difference.
Absolutely. And we know at this point that El Magus is safe. El Magus will not have to play in the 13 through 16 play-in. He has secured a spot in the top 12. As for Couch, I believe Couch is also... Yes, Couch is secure in the 13 through 16 play-in. He will not get bumped into the 17 through 20 play-in. And in
Yeah, I
fact,
just went and plugged this into my what if spreadsheet, and I'm showing that Xyrak is going to be in 17 to 20 regardless.
yeah, I think
His
he's
2
guaranteed
points
at
now
this
would
point.
still put him in 17.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. So our runners are going to wrap this up, of course, but we do know our top 20 at this point. It's unofficial, of course, until the admins punch in the numbers and run them and everything. But we should be looking at those top 4 we already mentioned, and then our 4 in the 17 through 20 will be Chokosura, Dusty Grip, Dragon Dark, and Xyrak. And then we'll have Couch 23, Big Dunka, Night Dew, and Aizen Tayama in the 13 through 16 play-in. Did I get that right there, Trenton?
I have them in a different order, but it seemed right.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And
So
that's
at this
just
point...
because of how I put them into my spreadsheet, and I wasn't reordering them.
Ah, gotcha. Well, Xyrak is on his way to grab his crystal. Personally, at this point, given that we know, I'm going to be a bad commentator. I'm going to root for GreatWightHope right now. Xyrak's spot in that play-in is secure, but I want GreatWightHope to get out of the tournament with something other than a 4th place finish. So fingers crossed, hearts open, get this 3rd place finish, GreatWhite, please.
Rivers, how loud was the deep breath out?
Pretty loud. I'm not gonna lie. This has really not been my night in any way. Like right down to my my wife's 2 birds flying upstairs while I was playing and just circling me. So like anything that could go wrong did go wrong tonight, but I'm happy I clutched it out at least.
So basically someone cast Final Fantasy VI Muddle on you right before the race.
Basically, yeah. Oh man.
Well, you've secured your spot in the top 4. You know, Fred had that 1st place, and I'm sure he already confirmed he was very excited that you were in position to take 2nd. He didn't want to have to do a draft strategy. Have you given any thought about that coming up?
About the draft?
Now that you've secured your spot?
I've put together a couple of different scenarios that will kind of play out for me, but like I'm not like deep into the weeds yet.
Gotcha. Got a few real life fantasy drafts to worry about before you do your
That's right. I got one in like 10 minutes, so I'm trying to hurry up here.
Okay. Well, River, let me ask you this first. You found the Darkness Crystal. You were actually the first of our runners to pick that up, so we were a little worried that might lead you on the wrong path.
Yeah.
How close was that decision for you?
I thought about grinding there, but really what I wanted more than anything was just the characters. You know, I was stuck with Tella the whole time, and I knew that doing Cure 4 strats with Tella on Zeromus wasn't going to be fun, so that informed a lot of my decision making as far as, well, I'll follow more of these chains, thinking maybe I get the Earth Crystal, maybe I get the Baron Key, find an item here or there, but it just came up dry the entire time, and then, you know, finally I'm like, okay, fine, we'll do the Twin Harp thing, and then we got the Crystal. I'm like, well, now I guess I got to do this, don't I?
So, Rivers, just to confirm, with the upcoming playoff flags, we will have C3 active, where we will only get 5 characters. Does that make it to where Cure 3s are always guaranteed to be in a shop, or only if you don't have a white mage? How's the logic on that working?
Cure 3s will always be guaranteed to be in a shop that is gated. So doesn't mean that you hit the Underworld, they're automatically there, but they will be probably on the moon. They could be in the Hook Cave, that sort of thing. But yeah, everybody should have Cure 3s in those seeds if they need them.
Gotcha. Okay.
Xyrak has picked up the crystals, so now in go mode, and will have access to the moon. GreatWhite has both, so could go for the final boss anytime.
GreatWightHope, what are you doing?
Come on, GWH, get that point. Don't finish with 4, baby.
Are you looking for something specifically?
Maybe hunting for Cure 3s, as chat mentioned. but come on, live that Tello life. Let's go.
That's how you gotta play this one.
Chat asks if
K-Man.
there'll be another race after this. Well, if you join the Discord, I'm sure you could ask for a run back, and there might be one tonight.
As far as runs here on RPG Limit Break, upcoming, there are going to be a couple of matches scheduled. Again, there's going to be the 13 through 16 play-in, where the top 3 racers to finish in that race advance to the playoffs, and there will be the 17 through 20 play-in, where only the first place winner advances to the playoffs. Rivers, do you want to talk a little bit about how you and the admins intend to schedule these and what the plan is for the draft? Will it be same night, separate nights? What's on the agenda?
So we'll be putting the draft after whichever one is later of the 13 to 16 or 17 to 20 race. We'll have to coordinate, obviously, because that's, getting 8 people together at the same time, hopefully. So that's a lot of schedule mingling, but hopefully after one of them, we will just flow right into the draft, and everybody will be as prepared as they can be, and can have some fun with that.
It'll be a very, very hype night, just to go straight from the match into the draft and know who everyone's going to be playing, who you have to make it through to get to that final day. Very exciting times ahead.
You toughed this out through some less than ideal circumstances, but any final thoughts tonight, River?
Always have a backup SD card on hand, preferably one that works.
Hey, playing on emulator didn't slow you down at all, sir. You were expertly done. Expertly done.
I'll take the compliment. I don't agree, but I'll take the compliment. Thanks, guys. Hope you guys have a good rest of the commentary around here, and hopefully, not to root against Xyrak here, but hopefully GWH can get that 1 extra point so doesn't finish at 4.
All right. Good night, River.
I'm in the same boat. Have a good night. Good luck with your draft.
It's a pretty significant advantage for Xyrak at this point. Peak leveling is completely done. Unless you decide you want a few more because you weren't planning to not have a white mage.
So at this point, just contemplating, where can our white mages be? There is a character in Baron Castle, if you get the Baron key. There is a character at Sand Ruby who, I think Rivers visited Kaipo earlier, but I didn't spot who was in the bed.
I saw Edge at Earth Crystal, didn't see the second one.
Oh, during the post-game credits, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, 2 characters at Earth Crystal, one of whom is Edge, and then a character in the Giant, and then a character at Package, so...
Chat says Fu was in the bed, so...
Oh,
that
I
could have
gotcha.
worked in a pinch. The magic point's not ideal to be spamming Cure Force, though.
But you can probably get through the fight with just squeezing it in under the wire. And there are Ether 2s for sale, as we saw down in the Fame Arch when Rivers went there.
So Xyrak has decided a few more levels sound good here. And 180,000 experience a pop for this fight. 240 if you're really good. Which, for anyone who's not familiar, when he's using the life potions on these, they're coming back to life at 0 HP and then dying again, so basically you kill 3 instead of 2, but you can potentially get 2 life potions off and make it.
Absolutely. Although we are playing with the G0 flag, it doesn't eliminate every glitch in the game. It eliminates 3 big ones. You cannot do the item duplication glitch while it's active. You cannot do the MP underflow glitch. That's one reason why Tella and Fu not as useful as they are on G0. And you cannot do the warp glitch in Dwarf Castle to get the sealed cave item for free. Other glitches that are permanently disabled in Free Enterprise, the 64-floor hierarchy glitch will soft lock you if you attempt it, and I think that's about all of them. The life glitch is still available, the back row glitch is still available, Avenger glitch is still available. I think that covers about all of them.
Yep, there's also the negative glitch of the adamant armor. If you de-equip it, you're gonna get messed up on your resistances.
Oh, that's true, that's true.
GreatWight is checking Giant Babel? Oh, going for the D machine.
Or possibly trying to find a white mage. May not be comfortable doing this with just Tella. Maybe thinking, oh, let me see if I can find a Rosa or a Porum somewhere, or a Fu, before going for this final fight.
It's 2 boss spots, and one of them is the Fiends, so that is a lot of HP to be on one boss. It can make this one of the more challenging spots. Also, chat said his Cecil was at 53. 55 is usually what you want to stop at for Cecil if you've got something to nerf his agility with. That can be Drain Spear or the Dwarf Axe.
Cursed Ring also works pretty handily for it. And
That's a different amount of agility, so I don't know the levels on that.
gotcha. Yeah, it just depends on what you have and what kind of combinations you can throw together. And oh goodness, I'm thinking now about the gear that gives minor bumps to agility. There are a lot of permutations to actually account for there.
I just have it figured out in my mind that level 55, as we've got the Magus Sisters, level 55 with the Drain Sword gets the job done.
So Magus Sisters at this spot, at least you do have the huge amount of elements HP split amongst all three. But I think the magic power at the spot's pretty rough, and oh goodness, that physical attack on a base level 10 Palom. Xyrak, by the way, found a crystal sword for Cecil somewhere. Xyrak's...
It was on the moon. I think it was in the Plague Room.
Ooh, yeah. Xyrak's Quad Zerker team is going to do work. Or no, he has Quake Kid, so it's only 3 Zerkers, but that Cecil should be doing 6,000 damage per swing at least. There's going to be some ridiculous damage done to Zeromus, as long as he can keep the team alive for the entire fight.
There's always a catch, isn't there?
I mean, that's part of the fun of, actually strategizing, and one thing that we're going to see a lot of in the upcoming playoff round flag sets. Again, we are flipping that C1 up to C3, so there will only be 5 characters for you to find on any given seed. So you could end up, having something that's like Edward, Tella, Sid, Porum, and I don't know. You could have any interesting combination that forces you to reconsider strategies and try to find other ways through that Z fight than the more classic nerfing, Zerks, healing, etc.
This is one of those spots where actually having Tella is going to hold you back, because he does not have Quake. He's got Virus, but you can't use that against the walls to hit them AoE. And without a Soma drop, you've got no Meteo. So this is just a rough spot. He has the save. I think my thought process would be reset out of this and get Palom's level up.
Yeah,
because you don't even have to do a grind fight. You just have to do one fight, and you'll get Palom caught up a lot.
Yeah, because with our X2 flag, there is experience scaling. First of all, 10 key items doubles all experience earned, but then also, if you are 10 levels behind the median party member, you get triple XP. If you're 5 levels behind the median party member, you get double XP. So Palom being level 10 at this point would get times 6 XP from any ordinary encounter in the giant.
That is quite a bit, and there's plenty of good experience fights. So I just would have liked it because one fight would have given you Quake, and then you could be spamming it here. I guess he's going Zerk strats at this point, which is not a bad plan, except the attacks keep spreading around instead of being targeted.
Definitely a dilemma when fighting them. Although, on the other hand, if you do accidentally knock out Sandy and Mindy, and they get revived multiple times, you end up with absolutely ludicrous amounts of XP from this fight.
It's true, but if you wanted the experience, you could also get that from the D-Machines here.
Absolutely. And of course, there's also the issue of, if you do want to pick Palom back up to get the experience, are you going to get the timing right before one of your Zerkers finishes the fight? Maybe, maybe not.
think you're fairly safe on that, because it's not going to be till the middle sisters down that you're going to have to worry. For Xyrak, Tella's already taking a nap. That could make this fight a little more challenging.
Letting the kid throw. Oh my goodness. That was over 8,000 damage with that swing.
Yeah, Zerk Crystal Sword on a good leveled Cecil is quite impressive. Probably a Zeus Gauntlet equipped as well.
And based on the coloration of the sword, I bet he switched over to an Avenger as well. That doesn't look like the normal Crystal Sword sprite. But I may
That
be
would
wrong.
let you not have to worry about the Zerk. He reset.
Yeah, GreatWightHope reset out of the fight.
I wish he would level up the pound.
Quake would do a lot of work in this fight, absolutely. Dusty Griff, thank you for confirming that in chat. Thought I recognized the difference in the color of that weapon. And of course, since he does have the Avenger equipped on Cecil, this black hole will not slow down the Paladin damage in the slightest.
Yeah, it's nice to not worry about that. It's also nice that he's getting over 10,000 damage around, basically.
And it's so
that's
nice.
enough.
That's all she wrote. Xyrak takes 3rd place officially with a time of 1 hour, 35 minutes, 45 seconds. GG Xyrak, thank you for showing us exactly what a Paladin Cecil can do in that fight.
Okay, Xyrak should be joining us shortly. Unofficially, that'll put Xyrak in 17th place. And into the second group play-in race, where only one will advance. It's been a little while since we talked about that, so while waiting. Out of the first group, which is going to be players 13 through 16, one player will be eliminated, whoever finishes last. Out of the group of 17 to 20, one player will advance, the one who wins. They will join with the other 12 that have already earned their right to be in the Sweet 16, and that'll be how we go to the next stage.
And we are joined by Xyrak, our 3rd place finisher tonight. GG Xyrak, what do you think about the seed?
Why burn? Why?
Well, for what it's worth, you weren't the only one who took an untimely wipe to the Mega Nuke. I believe everyone suffered at its hands at least once.
Yeah. That wipe really took a lot of the wind out of my sails. I'm going to be completely honest. I felt like I was playing really well and blitzing through the seed up to that point, and I just kind of felt like I lost all my momentum there. And that led to a bad decision going up tower. And I really felt like I could have had that Octomam fight had I had the Cure 2s that I had bought in Dwarf Castle that I no longer had because I wiped on Wyvern. Yeah, so that just started the cascade of gambling all over the place and going to the moon. And I mean, once I saw Fred finish at just over an hour, I was like, this isn't going to go well from here.
Well, on the bright side at least, you know, going to the moon, you did at least get to entertain the crowd by getting that crystal sword, swapping it into Avenger, wailing on Zeromus for 7,000 to 8,000 damage a swing. Always love seeing Paladin Cecil do some work. And you are officially in the 17 through 20 play-in. Do you have any plans going into that? Are you going to try to be a little more gambling in it, or are you going to try to just rely on your execution and just play your game?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I feel like I dropped some points in my first 2 races due to a little bit of bad luck and a little bit of poor decision making on my part. I felt like, other than the bad luck with Wyvern here, I feel like literally if that's any other boss, like even if it's Golbez, I feel like I'm fine. Like Wyvern was the only one, just because he killed me before I even got a menu. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I'm not watching other streams. I don't know where I was comparatively, but I felt like I was playing really well to that point. So I think I'm just going to try and bring that into the 17 through 20 race and see what happens.
Yeah, you played great. I mean, I think that you would have still probably gotten second even if it weren't for the Moon Detour. The Lunar Detour did throw you off a little bit, but the Wyvern wipe happened to everyone. So it stings that it frustrated you and, you know, put you on tilt a little bit, but You were playing great the entire time. Don't let one wipe get you down.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if tilt is necessarily the right word. It's more just the like having the momentum and feeling like it's been taken out from under you kind of thing. Like I wasn't angry really. I was just more like I don't know. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah.
I gotcha. Well, you do have that one more match coming up as soon as we get everything scheduled. Looking forward to seeing how you plan it, and go out and do your best, and may see you in the playoffs yet.
All right. Thanks, Inven. Trenton.
Good night, Xyrak. Thank you so much for joining us. Any other thoughts you want to share?
No, I think Inven covered most of them there. So yeah, thanks a lot to the two of you. Thanks to Cool Pants and Scala Kitty as well. And yeah, we'll see. I got at least one more left. Hopefully more.
All right, the race continues for at least another day. For GreatWightHope, this is the final appearance in the league. He's not going to be able to revive Palom in this one because he's on Berserk only strats at this point.
Well, he may be intending to ditch the kid anyway if there is a white mage up in this next spot, but still have another
Kid
boss
or
to break through
Tella?
before them. That's true. You will have to grind
Yeah.
no matter who you pick up here. I'm trying to think who he would not want to see
Here.
at this point.
Edge
Rydia?
is here, but I think this is the rare situation where you don't take him.
Absolutely. Well, Edge we know is in Tower of Zot.
You're right.
So the
I'm
worst
mixing up
case,
my towers.
and Fu is in the bed in Kaipo. That leaves Rosa, Porum, Rosa, Porum, and Rydia. We do not want
And
Rydia.
Edward?
And Edward! Oh my god, Edward! I forgot about Edward. So, Baron in, second in
And now I know
Zod,
what you're rooting for.
package, and here we have Rosa, Rydia, Porum, and Edward. Oh, come on.
And now I know which one you're rooting for. There was too much excitement in your voice. You gave it away.
Oh, that's just so nasty. It was so terrible I hadn't even contemplated it. Oh,
Yeah, we know it's not Edge because Edge is at Tower of Zot and there's only one duplicate seed, so that much we're certain of at this point. And we know it's not Fu. We've already seen the clone, so we know that's off the table.
yeah, our clone was Cecil to start and Cecil in Baron Inn. But hey, starting in the playoff round, we're going to be seeing clones everywhere. Looking forward to my new trolliness I'm looking forward to in the playoff round. You know how our racers tonight had to be stuck with 3 characters all the way to the underground, and then even a little longer because of that rude wyvern? We're going to have seeds starting in a couple weeks where it's like duplicate, 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 duplicate. Give me a 4th character.
One thing I maybe would suggest to the far better runners than me that are in that is you better figure out who your worst character use is and practice with that person because you can be sure you're going to have to do something. Well, if GreatWhite has the crystal, this is going to go well. If he has the Excalibur, it's going to go fairly well.
There's also, with regard to that round, inventory management will suddenly be a lot simpler. As soon as you know who your 5 characters are, you don't have to hold out hoping to, find someone to equip this Masamune or someone to equip this Holy Spear. All of a sudden, it's just money in the bank right out the gate.
I'm a little disappointed in that damage, actually.
Ooh. And one of the things,
Only 4,800. I expected more.
the CPU spot has ridiculously high magic attack. You never see it in the game. Well, you do a little bit. So both the healer node and the attacker node they heal 10% of the CPU's health. The other one does 10% of your max HP damage. Globe 199 has the same magic attack power as Mega Nuke, 255, and the enemy spot itself has ridiculously high magic power.
Cecil's gonna solo this.
Wow, makes it through in spite of those viruses doing so much work.
Yeah, the virus was one-shotting everybody, but once once the 1 was down, Excalibur gonna have that. All
Second
that
worst
work was
character.
for Rydia.
At least it's
No
not
white
Edward.
magic for you.
Oh goodness.
She is all grown up. She has her summons. Honestly, you could take her over Palom.
But she is only level 1 right now. Although if you do the
He's level 10.
if you do the times 6 XP, you could level her up in by Rydia. Aw.
He's level 10. There's honestly, she'd have been a better pickup at this point.
All right, where's GreatWightHope going to lead us now? Back to the moon.
I wonder what he hasn't done at this point. He could
See,
maybe.
We still have not seen Mist Dragon yet, have we?
I thought chat mentioned seeing it in the spoiler log. We did not see it on the moon, and I think we saw all the spots on the moon. So that would leave Luca Cave.
Oh yeah,
Hack
Luca
Cave.
Cave, Baron Castle, Kaipo Infight, Tower of Zot fights. Yeah, there's still a lot of places it could be.
We saw the Bahamut fight. That was Octobot?
Elements. It was the elements at Bahamut, I think. Not 100% positive. I remember seeing Rubicant and then seeing the Mylon Z sprite, so I'm pretty sure that's where that was.
Going back to the subterranean.
May just be time to grind it out and go with this team. Or hunt an Earth Crystal. At this point, Sand Ruby gets you Fu, and Earth Crystal guarantees you at least Rosa or Porum. GreatWightHope doesn't know
No, it
that.
doesn't.
We know that.
No, it doesn't. Edward.
Edward. Oh, I keep forgetting about him. Why do you remind me of this
You
card?
keep trying to repress that memory. You need to go practice with Edward.
I'm trying to make things nice for our last racer here, and oh, hey, there's Demist. Okay.
Okay, so this will be double item check, I guess. You get this spot, plus you can check with Rydia's mom. Hopefully Palom lives through this one, but Demist says nope.
Oh, are we doing Berserk strats on Demist? Please tell me no. Okay,
That
good,
could
good,
get
good.
a
I was
little
worried.
unpleasant.
I was worried. Eating cold mist after cold mist is no bueno.
I don't think it would hurt that much, but it would be an annoying time waste.
Exactly.
Let's find
It's
out.
just the animation. Yeah, 1-1-1,
Yeah.
64 to Tella. Negligible, but still.
Cool Pants, our wonderful tracker tonight, says this leads to Baron Key and Sand Ruby.
Well, that definitely guarantees a white mage at the end of the chain. If you count Fu, I mean Sage, Lunar, whatever. He knows Cure 4 and has more than 98 MP. And what more could you ask for?
Admin armors for everybody. Level up Cecil enough to do a 9,000 damage hit.
Oh, let's just let Cecil solo Zeromus. I'm on board with this.
Maybe. I mean, if you're gonna go out in style.
Like that hot pink isn't stylish enough? Come on.
You make a good point. On the other hand, one could argue that's where everything went wrong in this seed.
Crystal ring, fantastic piece of gear. Except when you're actually looking for the crystal, and then you see crystal pop up on your screen, and you get excited, and then it quickly fades away into disappointment.
Plus, you get it with the fanfare on top of that.
Ah, just an MVP. We will not see Soma drops for Cell on on S2, sadly. Have to at least be S3 to see them, I think, if not S4.
Chat disputing that instead of that being the worst crystal, the vendor trash is the worst crystal.
I mean, the part that makes Crystal Armor the worst is when you equip it for its defensive capabilities, forget you have it on, try to Berserk Cecil, and be like, wait, oh yeah. The one piece of armor that gives that immunity in the game. Ugh. So frustrating. Of course, the Avenger overwrites that regardless, so at least you have Avenger.
If I ever get my wish of Pink Puffs being impossible, it could actually have a use.
That is true, that is true. There's our Baron Key. Alright. Are we going to chase this GWH? Let's do it.
So we know that leads to the Soya, which you would have to assume is coming in for Tella?
I would think so. Unless you just... I don't know how many Bacchus wines GWH has left, but could opt to keep Tella just as a secondary source of Berserk or Slow, or even a single target Cure 4 will max out a character's HP, even with Tella's paltry willpower.
I've got to check the treasure chests, it looks like.
GWH, milking that spotlight. Let's do an 18 out of 18. Let's just go for it.
How many spots are there in K2? Have you ever counted that up?
Yeah, Cool Pants Guy is correct. It is 28. You have the... I'll pull up the checklist for everyone
Well,
while
just start with the K1 spots everybody's used to.
Oh, yeah. So K1...
Add the summon spots.
Yeah. And then
add
you
the river
have
bosses.
6 spots on Moon, but one of those spots has 2 possible treasure chests. The Lunar Dragons, both chests can contain key items.
And then with no free lunch, we add one because of the nest.
Yeah. Well, we don't add. We just transfer the because Edward would have one if we did have free lunch on, but he loses his. Gotta make him as worthless as possible.
Talon just can't level up. Of course, it's not like GreatWight has gone to a lot of effort to try and level this Talon up, but
showing his utter disdain for the Mysidian prodigy. It's like, no, don't like you.
I'm starting to wonder if it isn't a statement. I was watching FF1 last night. One runner kept dropping Vorpals all over the place. It's the GreatWight's statement at this seed. What he thinks.
Pale Dim, sitting on the throne of Baron. 3,000 slash with that Excalibur. This dragon will not stay standing for very long. And 2 swings and it's dead.
Does it only count as 1 when Yang uses both fists? Or does it count as 4?
I don't know. I never really
Yang's
played.
fists.
Monks are complicated.
Alright, who
Oh
joins?
my god.
Well, now you know Earth Crystal's a better play.
That's true, that's true. But at least the Sand Ruby will result in Fu, and we should be good to go.
You know what? If he really doesn't want Forum, he should have picked up Edward just to do that to chat. Do it for the people! So we've been told that this is going to lead to the Sand Ruby via the spoiler log. Which, don't know if GreatWight has scouted that yet or not, but hey, your options at this point are 2 white mages, Fasoya, and Edge.
There's that Sand Ruby.
Chat asking about what I said with the spoiler log. After you complete the seed, it shows you the location of the key items. So we've had the chance to see that from a couple of runners now. So I'm
Right.
guessing Vasoy is coming in for Palom here.
Or could just leave Palom at dead level 10 through the entire end game. Make a full statement.
Could be.
Oh my
Although you
god.
get auto revived.
It's happening. All right, are we good, GreatWightHope? You ready? You ready to do this thing? Let's go.
Wow. What's choice? Yeah, curse ring instead.
Adamant Anfu wants to make sure that the mop survives any and all unnerfed Big Bangs. Sorcerer Robe on Cecil, not a bad idea, actually. It
Well,
does
better
have
than
rather
cloth.
good. I mean, yeah, better than cloth, obviously, but has pretty good magic defense and magic evade, and that's all that Zeromus is going to be throwing at you anyway.
Yeah, he's got the adamant glitch on that I mentioned earlier, so elemental spells damage to Cecil would be bad right now, but who cares? He's out of bosses to fight.
Pretty much, pretty much.
I think he even took on the summoned. He'd have to have the package at this point, which who even knows what that is.
All right, there's your cocktail shrimp. Hop on board. Let's do this. There we go. Found a white mage. Good to go. Let's finish this fight.
This could be very interesting. He will, I think, end up going in with the lowest levels if he goes straight to the fight. And I'm very much a fan of having Fu, but he's usually kind of a secondary healer for me. His magic points do start running real low when you start casting Cure Force.
Yeah, but I
57 for that Sid's not bad.
think the three frontline fighters are going to be dishing out so much damage that Fu should have enough MP to make it through this fight.
Did you see what level Yang is at?
I did not, but I think Sid was at 60 and Cecil was at 50 something, so I assume Yang is also pretty high up there.
I saw Sid at 57. I thought Cecil was at 50. $50 would be right without nerfing agility.
Yeah, let's see if GreatWightHope takes the safety save, which hopefully
It
will.
has to.
And then we'll try to get a quick look-see. We know Palom's level 10.
And we know Fasoy's level 50.
Yep, yep.
These are the things we're sure of. You know what's amazing? Think about how much faster this walk is than the vanilla game. And yet we're so spoiled by past, this feels ridiculously long.
And then you go play vanilla and you walk with encounters enabled, the slower walking speed, and you're like, oh, never mind. Even this
Just
is
half speed for walking, plus the fights to slow you down.
Yep.
You start to feel like Cecil from FF4 in a nutshell. 61 for Yang? I saw that.
Oh,
right?
wow. Yeah, that's gonna be ludicrous damage. This is gonna.
I'd rather have the adamant on Yang.
I'm torn on it. You do want to make sure that Fu. Like, I don't see GreatWightHope bothering to nerf any big bangs past possibly the first one, and keeping Fu standing means this will go off without a hitch. It may not be the fastest Z fight, but it should be a relatively safe one.
Speaking of vanilla, when Gomez and Fasoya come here, you ever wonder why they didn't bother to check any of the treasure chests?
I mean, I'm guessing that with that fancy armor Golbez is wearing, that he just can't equip most other class items anyway. And as for Fu, he's like, I know every spell. I'm good. There we go. That's my headcanon.
Alright, here we go. GreatWightHope versus Zeromus. Yeah, maybe their
All right.
inventory was full. They could have been carrying ethers to restore all their magic points.
That's true. All right, here we go. Love seeing that 100 HP on that Palom.
Will Balam get a spell off? Should get something off unless he just intentionally does nothing.
I'd like to see Palom eat the counter nuke. I think that's what we're hoping for here.
Only 5 Bacchus wines. That's not a lot, and he's gonna need more than the other runners. Chat is without mercy. This is what we've come to expect.
And looks like got a silk. Yeah. Actually gonna let Yang do a nerf the first Big Bang. Before probably let Yang hop a Bacchus wine on the next go round.
We saw the first shake and I think didn't want to chance the timing. Of course it goes right with the Soya.
Ooh, Cure 3 again does have a delay that Cure 4 doesn't.
And it's gonna cost him. I understand the play though. I kept talking about how the magic points just don't go as far with Cure 4. Oh, he lives because of the nerfed Big Bang. So that'll work out pretty well.
And that is another thing to be aware of for everyone who's looking to get into this randomizer. And that's although nerfing Zeromus' Big Bangs is a great strategy, you don't actually have to wait for the shake on the very first one. You can pop an item, a spell, any number of things on Zeromus right at the start of the fight, well, after the transformation is complete, and go ahead and nerf it, even if you haven't seen the shake yet.
We saw the shake, so if he was going to nerf it, you would do it now, but he's just going to take this.
Let's see if Fu endures this one with that adamant armor. Easy game.
Yeah, you can see what a difference this is. His damage numbers are so much lower. He's not getting as many turns in as other runners did. Only 5k damage. Only 5k damage. But that's still pretty nice. And the black hole is going to hurt a lot more.
Tristan Kane pointing out in chat that second one felt quick, and that may be a situation here that even with the Cursed Ring on Cecil, just having so many levels may put GreatWightHope into a position here where these Big Bangs are going to be coming out very quickly. Hopefully,
did he put a Cursed Ring on?
I thought he did. I could have sworn someone in chat mentioned it. I may be wrong though. On the other hand, you see that 6,500, and you start. Well, it was a crit, so. I think that GWH just did enough damage to get the phase shift, so we're not going to see another shake before a Big Bang, which will actually give a lot of time here to get in some of these extra hits.
There's the shake.
See if Fu survives this one. Nicely low rolled. Again, adamant armor plus Fu's other mage type gear, giving him sufficient magic evade to dodge some of those hits of Big Bang, and taking significantly less damage than the 3 frontline fighters.
And their HP has been fine as long as Fu is able to continue doing the Cure 4 spam, but he's only got one more Cure 4 in the bank.
He's out of Bacchus wine though, and he's going to use a manual Berserk on Cecil. Sid or Young at this point, if he has elixirs or ether 1s, ether 2s, may take this opportunity to go ahead and recharge Fu a little bit so he can keep those Cure 4s coming.
Would be a good plan. He may just have it intentionally for Sid to do, since Yang will do more damage. Chat asking where was Fu? He was the Sand Ruby character.
Yeah, he went through a little bit of a journey to find him. It was Mist Dragon at the Pale Dim spot on the moon. Then Iridia's mother gave the Baron Key, and then the item in the pot was the Sand Ruby. Oh, we have
Meteor
meatballs.
phase.
So with Stessel hitting for those 5,000, ooh, Yang gets the killing blow. Let's go, Great White Hope.
He went, and he's here. GG, you finished it.
Yeah. Alright, I have one question. Where were the Cure 3 potions?
They weren't.
They weren't.
Oh. That explains a lot. I thought that...
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the items that had to be around.
He went.
Them in Star
And
Veils.
he's here. GG.
No, it's
No,
under
Cure 2.
C3. C3, they'll be guaranteed, but not C1.
C3, they'll be gated, is the guarantee. It's Cure 2s that are guaranteed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
well.
your opponent's just muscled through with Zerker Strats and Tella and the instead of finding a white mage like you did. So it made the difference this time. Great hot pink swag though. Love the color scheme.
Yeah, I figured it would bring me some luck, and it did if there had been, you know, a Rosa or a Porum anywhere to be found. I would have done great. But such is the rando.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough seed. Apparently they're hiding in behind the package, and as one of the two characters at Zot. We see in the in-game credits that Edge is the other one at Zot. So hidden white mages stinks to see.
Hidden white mages, well, if there had been Cure 3 potions, I'd have been fine too.
Yeah. The
But
game was a good show, though. I think you're probably our one runner to have cleared the Giant of Babel in the round of 32.
I was so desperate to just find a white mage. I've never disliked Rydia more than I did at that moment.
Well, you know, the worst thing,
You might
you
take
did
her.
end up seeing Edward, but imagine seeing Edward in that spot. That would have been even more of an.
Well, hey, I did find Edward.
You did.
But
But
then
seeing
I
him
got
at the end
this-
of the Giant.
I got
ugh,
the Sound Ruby at least.
yeah. Well, any other thoughts on the seed? Any plans going forward? Not going to be in the playoff round, of course. We have established the 20 people playing for those spots after tonight, but great effort. We going to see you in the community race tomorrow night?
Tomorrow I'll be doing commentary for the community race. So I'll be out it'll be my first time doing commentary. Looking forward to it.
Awesome.
I'm also looking forward to, seeing bad plays and not having them be mine.
Fair enough. Ah,
Well, you finished it out. That was all there was to play for at that point, but you got it done, so GG, great way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for everyone who has joined us. The round of thank yous, RPG Limit Break, our tracker Cool Pants guy, Scarlet Kitty, the wonderful restreamer. We will be hosting, it looks like, Night Dew as we wrap this up. Invenerable, it's been fun.
hey, it's been a blast. Great conclusion to our round of 32. We still have those 2 play-in matches coming up, followed by the playoffs. A lot more Zemus-Zone action coming up in October. Look forward to it, everyone.
Have a great night, everybody.
Night, y'all.